YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic, and today we're gonna talk some football, Houston Texans football. Today we're gonna talk about possibly the most dangerous player in the whole entire draft. We're gonna break it down. Before we get in there, like we tell y'all before, if you're liking the content, make sure you're liking the channel. Make sure you're watching all the videos, you liking all the videos, you commenting on all the videos, you sharing all the videos on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, any type of social media platform you use. Make sure you share on the same social media platforms. Also, follow me on social media as well. The link in the description below. We're still in the race to get to 6,000 subscribers. You know what that means. I need you to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, so they can tell some more friends, so they can tell some friends and put them on game to the channel so we get this channel growing and growing and growing. Really, really appreciate that. Still trying to get to 6,000 subscribers, and I can't do that without your help. I need y'all to do your jobs. I need y'all to like, share, and subscribe, and let's get this channel growing and growing and growing. Really, really appreciate that. Now, a couple weeks ago, head coach DeMeco Ryans, when he was asked what kind of traits you look for in a receiver to add to his team, you want to add to his offense, and he said he wants somebody who's able to be utilized on third downs, someone who's able to move the chains, extend drives, allow drives to keep going. Also, someone that can get open, someone who can get open on a consistent basis, somebody who consistently get open. And I want to talk about who I feel like is not just the most dangerous receiver. I think possibly the most dangerous player in the whole entire draft. And that's Xavier Worthy, the receiver out of UT. I know a lot of y'all might be thinking like, hey, the Houston Texans don't have a first-round pick. They don't pick the pick 42. And more than likely, Xavier Worthy is going to go in the first round. One, I don't think the Texans are going to stay at pick 42. I feel like they're going to move up. Now, could they end up moving up to pick 32 to jump back into the first round? Possibly. I don't think so. I think they'll move up, but not all the way up into the first round. And also, I'm not for sure that Xavier Worthy is going to be a first-round pick. Before the NFL Combine, Xavier Worthy was thought of as a early to mid-second round pick. Now, the Combine, I think, elevated him into the first round, but I think some of that dust has settled and some of the other moves that other teams have made that, you know, the water start to level a little bit. And he could potentially, he might still go at the end of the first round, but there's a possibility he could still be there in the beginning of the second round. And again, I don't think the Texans are going to stay at pick 42. I feel like they're going to move up somewhere into somewhere in between pick 33 and pick 42 to draft a player, more than likely a receiver. So I do think that Xavier Worthy can be in that range. And I want to talk about Xavier Worthy because I think he is more than just a four-time. I feel like that he's an absolute playmaker and an absolute dangerous receiver. And like I said, I think he might be the most dangerous player in the whole entire draft. And because he's more than just speed, because he knows how to utilize the speed very, very well. He's very shifty, very quick. He knows how to use his leverage and use his speed and able to get open like that. And if I say if a corner is right up there trying to jam off the line of scrimmage, he better be able to jam him, because if he miscalculates and doesn't do it, he's able to get right past the defender and get deep into the secondary. And again, also if you want to play off, you want to play soft coverage, you want to give a cushion, he's able to evaporate that cushion in the zone like that. That's how fast he is. He's an absolute playmaker, able to get open. Now, he does have weaknesses because he is smaller, slightly framed, and if the defender's able to bully him some, and knock him off his route and knock him off his speed, absolutely the defender's able to make plays. Also, he doesn't have a huge catch radius. He needs to be able to get open, because if the defender is right there, if it's a tight window, contested catches, things like that, because he doesn't have a huge catch radius, because he's not physical. He's not a physical threat. He's not somebody who's a physical posing as a receiver. The defender's able to use their movements, able to use their techniques, and able to get in, be able to knock the football out the way or make a play on the football and things like that. So he has to get open. But the thing is, he's able to get open. I know some people might say, oh, well, he's probably not a good route runner, because I think people utilize and normally take guys who are extremely fast and think that they're not good route runners. Again, he ain't Chad Johnson route runner. He's not about to just completely just route you up, but he's a well-run route runner. He's able to keep his speed. He's running the same speed at every level. No matter what route that he's running, he's able to use his speed and use his burst and use his acceleration right when he needs to. So he knows how to use his feet properly enough to get open and use his speed. So he might not have, I guess, run his routes the exact same way, like I say, like a Chad Ochocinco or a Keenan Allen or Stephon Diggs and things like that. These route technicians that you think about when you think about from the receiver, Larry Fitzgerald, these route technicians that you think about from a receiving standpoint. Because speed routers, like people who are absolute flyers, when we talk about people who are extremely fast, they run their routes different than these other guys who are very technical at running their routes. They run their routes completely different because he has a superpower. He has a speed, an elite speed level. Broke the record at the combine for speed. So he showed you exactly what type of playmaker he is. And again, if any type of quarterback with a strong arm is able just to drop back and just throw the football up in the air, he's able to find it and locate it and make a play. And you talk about plays downfield. And UT found that out very, very early, very, very often. And they utilized him as soon as he walked in the building. As soon as he stepped on campus, UT was able to utilize him. So let's get into the numbers. Again, like I said, Xavier Worthy out of UT. 5'11", 165 pounds. So he's very small, very slight frame. Like I said, so defenders are able to, if they're able to jam him up and jam him up and get him off his route, they're able to be physical with him. So he has to try to avoid that physical contact. We all know, broke the record at the NFL Combine for the fastest 40, 4.21 fastest 40, beating John Ross in 2017. That was a 4.22. Unlike John Ross, and some people try to compare him to John Ross because John Ross did not work out in the NFL. Xavier Worthy actually can play football. He's not a guy who just stepped up on the field and was fast. He stepped up at the combine and was fast. He's a guy who can actually play real football because UT utilized him very early on. His freshman year stepping on campus, he caught 62 catches, 981 yards, and 12 touchdowns. His first ever Big 12 game, he had 150 yards and 3 touchdowns as soon as he stepped on the campus. First ever Big 12 game ever in his career. Now, his junior year, his second year, called 60 catches, 760 yards, 9 touchdowns. Now, this is a year a lot of people tend to talk about because they say he dropped the football a lot. He had a lot of drop passes. You go back and look at the tape in 2022, he dropped the football a lot. What people don't know is that he played with a broken hand. He had a fracture in one of his hands and played through that injury. So he's showing you how tough he is because, again, he is a small, slight frame guy. So, sometimes those guys try to show you how tough they are. So instead of taking time off to heal, he played through an injury. And I guess from a perception standpoint, it kind of cost him because he did have a lot of drops. He had a percentage of 10.6 drop percentage that year. But he immediately cut it down to half this past year, because this past year, without the injury, caught 75 catches for 1,400 yards and 5 touchdowns, and his drop percent went from 10.6 to 6.3. Damn near half of the drop percentage dropped. So he showed you how reliable he is. And again, out of 75 catches, he was targeted 119 times. So he caught his average of catching was 60. He caught 63% of the passes thrown his way. Like I said, he decreased his drop percent. And again, his touchdown numbers kind of went down a little bit because you added AD on the opposite side. Again, they were a good football team, but UT was able to utilize him very well. Now, when you want to see his numbers on the downs, first down, he caught 26 catches for 354 yards and a touchdown. Second down, he had averaged having 24 catches, 331 yards and a touchdown. Third down, the chain mover, what DeMeco Ryans talked about, caught 15 catches, 206 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Fourth down, because they utilized him on fourth down, caught 10 catches, 141 yards, and 1 touchdown. So on the opposite side of the field, on UT's 20 to 30 yard line, he caught 18 catches for 250 yards, no touchdowns. But he did most of his work in between the 40s, 26 catches, 443 yards, 3 touchdowns. And also, they utilized him in the punt game, the return game. He returned 22 punts for 371 yards, averaging 16.9 yards per punt return, and had a 74-yard touchdown off of a punt return. So you can utilize him in the punt game. They also utilize him on jet sweeps as well. Just a guy that you add to the offense and could be an absolute playmaker. And again, do I think he's a number 1 receiver? I don't, because of his efficiency as far as, like I said, him being small, the defense able to shut him down, if they're able to get their hands on him, jam him, if they get their hands on him, he doesn't have a huge catch radius. If they're able to crowd that and able to get, like, put him in a contested situation, he's not going to be able to come up with the football. But if you add him into a situation where he's a complement to the offense, you add him to a situation where you have a number one receiver, or in the Texans situation where you have a number one and number two receiver, when you have Nico Collins and also have Tank Dell, you add him in and allow him to play the slot. So you can have Tank Dell still play on the outside and also have Nico Collins play on the outside as well, and you have him utilize his speed. They're not going to be jamming him, because then we worry about Nico Collins, and they also going to be worried about Tank Dell routing them up, because Tank Dell going to route him up, and Nico Collins going to have big plays. He's going to be able to do a lot of special stuff, taking the complete top off the defense and able to soften up their coverage. That helps out the situation with Joe Mixon. That helps out the situation with Dalton Schultz. That helps out reading the defense with C.J. Stroud. Him adding that dynamicness to the offense is going to take that safety out the box. Like I said, that's going to help out Joe Mixon a whole lot, and also help off the pressure when it comes to C.J. Stroud, because then their safety is no longer crowding the box, no longer watching things like that, because they're going to have to play back, because they can't allow this receiver to get back behind the defense and get in the secondary and make plays all day. DBs and D coordinators cannot stand that. They cannot stand that. They cannot stand giving up big plays. And the Texans were number 2 in the league in big plays. I think Nico Collins was number 2 behind Tyreek Hill in big plays. So the Texans do like to get big plays, and we like to be a big play offense. C.J. Stroud wants to put the ball downfield. We want to push the ball downfield, and he does do that. Now, you are talking about having 2 receivers with him and Tank Dell being on the smaller side, both of them at 165 pounds, and I don't think that Xavier Worthy, being 5'11", should be able to add on weight, because I do think that might hurt the 4.21 speed, and he's also a smaller guy. It's not like what I said the other day about Troy Franklin, who is 6'2", 6'3", and is only 170 some pounds. He can add on weight because he's taller. He will have a bigger frame. Xavier Worthy will have a smaller frame, so you would have 2 guys. You have a guy who's 5'8" in Tank Dell, and another guy 5'11", and they're both 165. Neither one of them are 170. So you would have 2 smaller frame guys. Now you do have a guy in Nico Collins who is 6'4" and like 215, 220. So you would have that to offset it. But you do have 2 smaller frame guys. But the play calling and Bobby Slower can go into complete mad scientist mode. Like seriously, Bobby Slower can go in complete mad scientist mode if you add a special, dangerous, dynamic player like Xavier Worthy to this offense. Again, I don't know if that's who they want. I don't know. And again, you might have to go to pick 32 to get him, because I do think that his combine did elevate him. And I do think that also some situations like Kansas City, signing Hollywood Brown, and then also now trading Snead to the Titans, that either they might trade out of their pick or they might trade and draft a corner. So, and I think that was going to be the safety net that was going to keep him from falling out of the first round. So because of that, that might open up a door that allow him to fall into the second round. And he might fall to the Carolina Panthers at 23, to New England Patriots at 34. And like I said, Arizona has picked 35. Who knows? We do think Arizona's going to draft Marvin Harrison, but who knows? They might want to give Kyler Murray 2 weapons. And again, they already had Hollywood, so who knows? They might want to give Kyler Murray 2 weapons in that standpoint, because they do have pick 27 in the first round as well. So they have 3 picks, and they have 3 picks in the top 35. So they might be able to do something like that as well. So you just never know exactly where their mindset, where their head said. They might want to, let's just double up on receiver. So there's plenty of different places where he can go that he might not fall to the Texans at 42. But I do think that he could be on the table. Remember, Nick Casario, D'Amico Ryans, and some other guys were at Texas Pro Day. They were at UT's Pro Day. I do think they got a chance to see this kid up close and personal, and they say, hey, this guy really is dangerous. Like I said, it's not like John Ross. He's just a guy who ran fast. He knows how to utilize his speed very well, and he can actually play football. Again, him being your number 1 receiver, I wouldn't want him to be my number 1 receiver. I want him to be a complement to the offense. And I do think that he can and would be a complement to the Houston Texans offense. I really would. I think, and I would be extremely happy if we brought him onto the team. I do think he would be an absolute compliment to this offense with C.J. Stroud, with Tank Dell, with Nico Collins, with Dalton Schultz, with Joe Mixon, and Bobby Slowick calling plays. Like I say, I think you give Bobby Slowick a weapon like this and C.J. Stroud a weapon like this, not to mention what you already have, mad scientist mode, complete mad scientist mode, and they could do a lot of special things. And I believe they would do a lot of special things if you actually add that to the offense. Again, I think this kid is extremely dangerous, and he can make a lot of plays. And he's going to make some DCs have some sleepless nights before game day because of how dangerous he can be. And again, he's going to get some general managers fired. He's going to get some general managers promotions because he is a very, very dangerous player. And I think he might be the most dangerous player in the whole entire draft.